Welcome back to Minus the Blueprint. We're here with another episode. I'm Franny.
And I'm Shay.
And I have the distinct pleasure of introducing my sister, Keisha.
Hi.
So we're going to get into why Keisha is here with us today. But as usual, Shay, how's your week been? What's new in life?
Well, I had to rest this week. I think that my body finally was like, you know what? You got to sit it down. I went to urgent care. I thought I had like the worst sinus infection. And the reality is it was tension, stress, and exhaustion. And I just needed to rest. So really just taking some time off to reset, I felt better. On top of that, I finally signed the promotion. So I actually just did that today. So I just got promoted today. So I'm super excited for this new role. Wanted to announce it here with the Minus the Blueprint fam and everybody that, so I'm excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I gotta take you out for a drink. That's awesome.
I'm always open for that. Yeah, always open for that.
I know you are.
How about Sunday?
Look, that's good. I'm glad you had a good week because I know like their weeks have kind of been touch and go. So I'm glad you got to rest and you got the news about your promotion. So that's good. Good.
How was your week? How's everything going in your world?
Everything's good. Things are still settling down from June being crazy. We actually went to Ontario to celebrate my Nana's 89th birthday. So that was a blessing. We went and my cousins, Keisha came in. She flew in from Virginia. So it was nice. It was nice seeing everyone. And my Nana was really happy. So it was a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So as you can see, our title today reflects we're going to be talking about sibling relationships, and so that's why my sister has graciously decided to join us. So I don't know what you want to tell the viewers about yourself, Keisha. If you want to give a brief introduction, we'd love to get to know you.
My name is Keisha. I live in Virginia currently. Obviously, I'm one of 4 siblings? It's a lot of you. So just here in Virginia, right now I just work remotely, working for the government. And just, pretty much it.
How do you like Virginia? How long you been over there?
In Virginia, I've been here for like a year now. I like it. It's close to DC. I'm relocating to Baltimore, actually at the end of this month. So
okay,
new scenario.
She doesn't stay in one place too long. Like she's been in Texas, Alabama. I don't know where she's. Oh, and she said she's going there next, but she doesn't stay in one place too long. So Michigan just is not her home. So
no, I don't do the snow anymore. Sorry.
Yeah.
Most people who leave say the same thing. Like, no, it's the weather.
Yeah. So I'm so happy to have her here today. Because we really thought sibling relationships are kind of a relationship people don't really talk about. And I think there's just so much that goes into it, right? A lot of people have just the expectation that, oh, you're siblings, so you're close, or your siblings are your best friends. So I think we wanted to come and talk about, like, break down what sibling relationships look like, and maybe they're different in your family as compared to ours. And so we're going to get into some different topics today. But I know first, Shay, we're going to do a little.
Yeah, so we got the sisters here, the Jackson sisters. So you know what? I feel like it's fun to like get to know them, right? Before we get into the meat of everything. So I'm going to ask a question. And if it relates to you, just take a sip of water, sip of wine, whatever you got, All right. Let's get to it.
And be honest, Keisha.
You be honest. You be honest.
Or you both of y'all be honest, all right? No, I don't have to break it up, okay? Most likely to blame the other for something they did.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was thirsty. I wasn't answering. My bad. I didn't know. Sorry.
No, keep drinking. Is this in childhood? Is this in childhood and adulthood?
I think both. Let's start most likely in childhood. Let's start there.
Down half of that.
I'll take it. I'm going to be honest. I could be honest. In childhood, yeah.
Now, what
In
about
adulthood,
adulthood? Is there a difference, or you taking
go
another
ahead,
sip?
pick it up again.
Keisha, come on. Come on, we
Pick
got to get through this.
pick that glass up
And if
again.
y'all forgot, the question is most likely to blame the other for something they did.
Like, start an argument.
All right, moving
Yeah,
on.
go ahead and take a sip. Take several.
Most dramatic over nothing.
Take some. Here we go. The truth. The truth.
All
Vindication.
right. Most likely to give the best advice.
Don't mind if I do.
She's taking all the sips on the good ones. She can't even be accountable, but it's okay.
I haven't heard one that applies yet.
Most likely to forget family birthdays.
Oh yeah, I'm terrible at that.
She,
I'll admit
Yeah.
that.
Most likely to be the fun aunt slash aunt.
What? Keisha, stop playing.
What? I
Most likely to cry during a Disney movie.
uh,
Sometimes it gets to you though. You know, the Lion King still.
I'm telling you.
Most likely to tattletale. What's the little tattletale? Oh, y'all was holding it in. Oh, are y'all just okay? Let's see it.
Somebody's not being honest, and it ain't me.
I wish I could throw away my mom on this phone call, but
Tattletale. There it is.
Look, take the sip. Take the
Take
sip.
a sip. You exposed
All right,
yourself.
you sure did. You gotta drink it on that one. You fell right into that.
Oh, I can't wait for your following to see this.
Most likely to trip over nothing. This actually resonated with me because that would be me. I'm clumsy.
That's probably me. I tripped a couple times.
Ooh, this one is intense. Most likely to still hold a grudge over something from 2008.
I think we should both be sipping at the same time. All right.
Take a little more than me, though, baby girl. Take a little more.
Right. I did that for your benefit. I didn't sip it all.
All right, we're gonna end it on this one, and I think this was a really fun. But most likely to show up when it really counts.
We should both equally sip.
Girl, I don't think you can correct me. I got this.
I'll take another one for good measure.
So yeah, see
Don't
this
ever
dynamic right here. The sisters. First of all, what's the age difference between you two?
I'm a year.
Okay.
We were both born in March. Yeah, she was born a year earlier. So I'm the oldest girl. We have four. There's five of us all together. So two boys that are older. Then it's me. Then it's Keisha, and then it's our baby sister who came a little later in life. So I like to call myself the oldest, the family manager, the one that keeps it all together. Keisha doesn't like that part.
Nobody asked her to do that. She did it on her own. She gave herself her own title.
To take charge.
Someone had to step up. So that's our. So what do you have? Two siblings, right?
I have two sisters. I'm the middle child. But on my father's side, I have a brother. He passed on. So yeah.
Okay, so we're both middle children, so we can kind of relate to
the struggle of the middle child syndrome. Overlooked sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's always the middle children. Those are the problems.
The most responsible, the one that had to take it all in. I'm feeling the manager role. I'm feeling that.
It's like having an extra mom you didn't ask for.
Hey, somebody had to do it.
See, when you need it, you don't have to ask because she shows up. See?
Am I too old to be adopted?
Always on time. Okay, so let's go into the topics though. One of the first things that I want to talk about is what makes sibling bonds unique compared to other relationships. And I think this is such a profound question because it is unique, right? It's unique because one, you're kind of forced into the relationships when you're when you're born. You live with each other for 17 plus years, and then everyone separates, and then somehow you have to be able to maintain that relationship and still go live your life, right, and still be there for them. So, and I'm sure everyone has different perspectives. I know not everybody's close with their siblings, but I'd love to start this podcast off with that topic. So Keisha, what do you think? What makes sibling bonds unique compared to other relationships?
I think it depends on the type of sibling bonds. Like, I think the one that we have is our dynamic is different, is wherein um, I kind of look to you as not just a sister, but kind of in that parental role because you are older. And there are things that I'm going to share with you that I've never shared with our parents, right? It's that additional, a different type of safety net when it comes to sibling bonds, because it's like, hey, you're like me. We're in this together. This is someone that can understand me. Whereas my parents are kind of far removed from the issues that I'm having.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like that.
When you said that, the first thing I thought about is, because I have a younger sister who's 3 years younger than me, but whenever you wanted to go somewhere, she got to tag along. So it's like you're already forced, like what you said, forced to be there because they have to be there with you in every little thing that you do. Besides, my older sister, who's 5 years older than me, she was like, "No, you can't go." So I was running home crying, like, I can't go with her. I always wanted to go hang out with her, but it was always a no. But with my younger sister, we were closer in age. And because my older sister said no to me so much, I was just like, all right, come on. This is my, little sister. I think the other thing is the loyalty piece of it. I remember my sister did something so, like, she just really upset me. And I was talking about it at work, and then somebody commented on my sister, like, "Oh, she's so crazy," and I snapped because I'm like, "Hold up, you don't talk about my sister." It's like, "But you just was. That's my
Yeah.
right. That's my sister," but nobody else could say anything bad about her. So I think that
Yeah.
makes the relationship different as well.
Yeah, I love that loyalty piece because I think that's like me, true to the core. Like me and Keisha can be like beefed out, haven't talked in months, and I'll still be and someone says something, I'm like, wait, hold on, chill. Like,
Oh, you know.
yeah, like I'll tell you how much I don't like her right now, but you better, check yourself. And I know it's like the same on her end because she tells me that all the time. Like when we do have our little sister fights, which we'll definitely get into. But yeah, no, I agree with both of you. There's just a certain, closeness. Like even if people aren't, and me and Keisha, we live in, like we have a long distance relationship, right? Keisha's in Virginia, and so I'm in Michigan, and so she's always, since she's been able to move out of home, she's always kind of been all over the place. So we've had to keep up communication and make sure that our relationship is strong. And we share a lot of the same friends. Like a lot of, like if you know me, you have to know Keisha. Like we hang out with, even if we're like, her friends are younger than me, my friends are older than her, but we all like will travel together. All of my friends. Sometimes Keisha will stay friends with people that I'm not friends with anymore. That's not loyal, but it's okay. It's okay.
What?
It's okay. Um, but no, we do. We shared a lot. Even growing up, like we shared a lot of a lot of things. I don't know. Did we dress alike when we were younger?
No.
No. Okay. But we're not that. Yeah, we're not like that far off in age, right? We're only a year apart. In school, we were 2 years apart, but we still, kind of had I think we're closer now, definitely, than we were when we were growing up. Because, sibling relationships, they'll change over time. How do you feel, Keisha? How do you think it's transitioned throughout the years?
I think it's when I was younger, I was at this place where I was like, my big sister's my hero. I want to be just like her. I want to do everything she does, and I look up to her. Now it's like I've come into my own. I'm my own person, and it's where I'm right now, where I'm meeting you. Like you're my equal. Like before, I was like, oh, I've got to do this because I want my little sister to see me. I want her to see me shine, and I just want her to notice me. And now it's just like, girl, bye. I'm here. I'm here.
And I have to admit, like being the older sister, I have to admit I kind of knew that, and so it was almost like I used it to my advantage when we were younger. To like, well, I know Keisha will go, like do an extra chore for me if I ask her to, or go do something, right? Because I'm like, she'll want to hang out with me and my friends, or she'll like. I just knew that she. It makes me sound like the villain, but it's not. I was just a little kid. I was a little kid, so. But I get that part because I see that in my youngest sister that she definitely looks up to me and Keisha, right? And she does like enjoy being around us. Like we're even like planning a sisters trip, our first sisters trip next year. So we're trying to, because she has there's such a big age gap, we want to make sure that we take her in. And she lost her mother quite a few years ago. I can't even remember what year, 15, 14, something like that. So just being able to make sure that she feels family, like knowing that we can kind of take on the, help her aunt who's helping raise her, be in the mother role, a protector role. So what about for you? How has your sibling relationship changed throughout the years?
Um, what you pretty much pointed out, like for my older sister, she had to take on this role more of like the mom at such a young age. So she had the right to um discipline us, which put us in a position where we couldn't really bond as sisters as much because it's almost like that was the parent figure, right? I remember one time I was really into sports. I wanted to play basketball, and we had my younger sister and I had just switched schools, and so I was going to basketball practice, but I didn't tell nobody. And so my younger sister, she was probably like 6 or 7 at the time. We all walked home, and it was probably like a mile walk, but we all walked home. I don't want to say mile, but maybe half a mile. And the kids across the street, I said, make sure my sister get home, right? So I went on to practice, didn't think nothing of it. Come in, my grandfather's standing right there, but my sister, who, if I was, she had to be a teenager. She got to discipline me in that moment, although there was an adult there because she had that privilege. You get what I'm saying? So that always kind of created a almost like we couldn't get as close as sisters
Mm-hmm.
because she had that power to discipline. Whereas my younger sister and I, we were a lot closer. We got into a lot of the same things. Her and I had to dress alike because my mom bought one thing. She just bought one bigger and one smaller. We had wore the same thing. To this day, my younger sister referred to me as her twin because we dressed just alike the whole time as a young kids. But what happened was when I was about 11, I ended up having to leave my grandfather's house. So we kind of got split up. And that kind of intensified a bond between my younger sister and I because we didn't go without each other for so long. So I ended up moving in with my paternal aunt. And it was times where like I just missed her, and so we would have to call and meet up and just try to continue like seeing each other on our own. When we became adults, obviously, I took on. Eventually, we started living together again in our teenage years, and I told her like, we just had differences in life. Like I was really focused on going to school. She didn't want to go to school, so it more so I took on that parental right. Like, hey, this is what you should do, but just different paths.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Um, so you are, and then did you know your brother that passed away?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I call him my brother, although we're not brothers. We don't share any DNA, which I didn't know until I was 11 years old. And all this in my book, y'all. Just so y'all know, I'm always gonna plug that book. These stories are in my book. But so I was sitting there playing basketball, and I didn't know how to shoot. So he took the time to teach me like how to shoot. He took the time to pour into me, and just really just kind of show up in a way that not even my dad did. So that was kind of our relationship. He was a barber. He cut my son hair for the first time in his life. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
talk to him about anything. He was a cool dude.
Okay. How old was he when he passed away?
He was 41, and unfortunately, yeah, he passed in his sleep. It's something, it's kind of crazy because I lost a couple of people around that time. So it's something I really haven't dealt with 100%, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine losing a sibling. My mom lost her brother in her adult life, and so I can't even imagine like that must be really hard. So I'm sure it's been some years, but my condolences for sure.
Appreciate it.
So okay, let's bring it back up beat.
Yeah.
So and for my brothers, because they are older, and they are in Michigan. Like we're not super close. We don't talk every day. We see each other like at family events and stuff. Um, so for me, I'm definitely like closer with my sisters. So I don't know if that was just the family dynamic growing up, or if it's just like girls, like we're fighting more to be closer together. What do you think, Keish?
I feel like when we were growing up, I think the boys kind of bonded between themselves pretty quickly, and then we've just naturally, it was just a natural gravitation to where we had this weird buddy system.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we met in the middle.
Mm-hmm. But don't get it wrong. Like I love my brothers down. We'll ride or die for them. Like you can't talk no mess about them. Like I'm very protective of my siblings. Like even when they date people, I'm just like, who is this? Like, and I don't want to be that sibling, but and unfortunately I am because I'm like, you got to come correct. You just got to be, all the way respectful. You got to be the right match. So in that way, I'm a little probably overprotective and dramatic, but I still, have a level of respect for them and who they choose to be with. Once I run the whole check, the background check, and the vibe check for for sure. So what are there? Has there been anything in particular that you all have done to make sure that those relationships stay together, like being more intentional about things instead of just like, hey, yeah, let's talk once in a while? Like what are some things that you all have done to make sure those relationships stay intact?
I would say for my sibling relationship now is very interesting. My sister unfortunately had a stroke a couple months ago, and she's in this period of coming back to some form of like she's recovering. So right now it's more of a caregiving role. It's not much she can do as she's relearning how to talk, relearning how to walk. So she's in this stage. So it kind of puts us at a place where we're caring for her. But prior to that, my younger sister started this thing where every morning she would text a good morning because um, as the middle child, them two, although they were somewhat similar, they always got into it. So they were butting heads a lot. And what would happen is once one got into it with the other one, I'm in the middle. Like, all right, y'all sisters, y'all don't need to be doing that. Like trying to piece it together. So I think for our relationship now, we're just my younger sister and I are coming together to support my older sister as she goes through this recovery phase. But prior to that, it's really just the same thing. Hey, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to, she frustrates you, but it can't be, I'll never talk to her again because that's how it gets. And then a week later, they're talking back. For myself, I'm more so like Switzerland, still in the midst of, just rallying and supporting my sister at this moment. Realize how fragile time is until you're, looking at your sibling on life support. You know what I'm saying? Like, and all you wish is that you had more time. So, I'm super grateful that she's still here. I'm super grateful that we still got time. I mean, it's still a long road to recovery, but we prayed. We all came together to pray for her, and she's doing pretty well. She's getting back every time she could pick up and try to call me, and I could hear like a resemblance of who she is. I'm like, okay, she one step closer. So I feel like my story's been real down.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
and I know
y'all.
you've been like your story. We're diving into, and that's what I feel like it's weird because even with our parents, like eventually somebody's got to be the caregiver of somebody. You know what I mean? So it's like flipping that role or having to come into a
Yeah.
new role, and you're like, wait a minute, like, am I even qualified to be your caregiver? I just you probably changed my diapers or I changed yours, so it's kind of like, it's different how, and it's crazy how life just makes us prepare for those situations too. Like it's just you just go into it even if you're not ready. So I think it's great that you even um have decided to go into that role, right? I hear all the time of siblings that don't get along well, but then they are forced to kind of like take care of their siblings or help them out in some kind of way, financially, emotionally, physically, whatever that may be. So, and I don't want to make it seem like me and Keisha are like just the epitome of siblings, because we're definitely going to get into like when sibling relationships get complicated, right? So, like with favoritism. I don't know. Should we jump into that since you said that yours was a little down?
Well, before y'all get into that,
Do,
what have y'all done? Especially with Keisha, you're you like to move, you like So what have y'all done to stay close, like to keep in touch? Like what is y'all do, like weekly calls, Zoom? Oh, I don't know, Zoom, FaceTime. Well, she don't got an iPhone. I don't know, Keisha, if you got an iPhone or not.
I do.
I knew it. I felt it. Oh.
What? When did you get an iPhone?
Is the Android in the room with us?
I think so. But I'm sure y'all FaceTime some way.
She doesn't have she's lying. When did you get
I do have an iPhone. I'm on it right now. I have an iPhone. I upgraded.
She
What iPhone?
Whoa.
It's okay. It's okay, Franny.
This is a sibling dynamic when it comes to
again,
that middle child trying to be a parent. When you get that loyalty? How is that loyalty? Because I upgraded my phone. Where does that doesn't make any sense?
Because she upgraded her phone.
Hey, I upgraded from my phone. I didn't upgrade from you.
That was beautiful.
Let me give you the reassurance, because what I am hearing, what I'm receiving.
Clap, Shayna.
It was beautiful. That was poetic.
Thank you.
It was like it needed it.
It did.
Let's move on. Let's move on. No, we don't have anything like scheduled. I think though, like me and Keisha have the same sense of humor. When I tell you, there's nobody that I can laugh with more than like when I tell you crying tears. There's nobody I can laugh with more than Keisha, even though she gets on my nerves. So we probably talk, if we don't talk every day, or but it's nothing where we're like, hey, so I think we just share a lot with each other. We include each other like in trips if we're planning it. I travel, she travels as well. So if we're doing a family events, we're like, are you going? Yeah, I'm going. Or who's all gonna be over there? Type thing. So that's it for me. Like I just know I try to, like I said, it's just a natural thing for me to talk to her almost every day. What about you, Keisha?
I think as I've gotten older, I've placed a lot more value kind of on our sister relationship, with respect of like I could call Francine and I'll tell her what's happening, and then I'll tell her, like, tell me the truth. Is it me? Am I doing something wrong here? Because I have that extra layer of, if there's going to be anybody in the world to check me, it's going to be my sister. You know what I mean? Because I have, I go to therapy, but it's like I don't let just random people check me. There's very few people, and she's one of them. So it's just like kind of like, yeah. So I make sure, I always make it a point, like, hey, you know what? I need to, I'm doing this and that. Let me check in and see what Fran's doing. Even when we have times apart, like when we're not speaking, I'll just be sitting in a moment like, oh, let me call Francine. I'm like, I'm not talking to that heifer. You know what I mean? I forgot I'm not talking to her right now. I'm mad at her for whatever reason. Or I'll just be like, oh, I wish Francine was here to see this. Oh, I gotta tell Francine this. And then, it's like, dang, I wish we were talking. So, but even when we're on, I always have that mind, like, man, I wish my sister was here. But I know that she's just a call or text away.
Okay, so let's go into like the downside of sibling relationships. And then, again, I definitely want to acknowledge people that don't have close relationships, or that had some kind of issue in their childhood that caused them not to be close to their siblings, or grew up without their siblings. I know there's a lot of broken homes. A lot of people have half sisters, half brothers, so they don't get the chance to grow up with their siblings. But I definitely do want to talk about like the complications of sibling relationships, because it's not always easy, right? So have you guys experienced favoritism? I guess we'll start with favoritism. Have you guys experienced that?
In what way? Like what,
amongst your siblings, even if you're
so like from the parents?
So even if you're the one that feels like your other sibling was like favored more than you, or you witnessed it amongst your siblings, or maybe you were the one that was the favorite or whatever, treated differently. So just treated differently or that quote unquote better.
I think for me, my older sister, like me and my younger sister is gonna agree on this 100%. My older sister might not, but we believe that my older sister is my mother's favorite, and I think it's stemmed in a lot of how they grew up. My mom, that's her favorite. So you could just see she would do anything for her. Whereas we might get told no more often than she would. So I don't know if that created so much of it created a separation where we felt like, man, we didn't take it out on our sister. We were just like, Ma, you see how you doing her versus how you doing us? Like it's a difference. And she sometimes could not see it. I think that within our own, my mom, she I was the one that did well in school. I was the one that went to school, was really always reading a book. So she always put me on a pedestal in a way that when she wanted to, I guess, upset my sisters, more so, hey, you see what Shayna's doing? Like, that's my angel and y'all the devils. Like, stuff like that. She'll say things like that, which will put me at odds because it's like you're trying to make me feel like I'm different than them. And I've always felt different, but it's like she's verbalizing that to the point where even my sisters do it. Like, oh, that's a good sister. That's the bad sister when they're mad at each other. So they inherit that too, which also puts me at a bad place. So I don't know if that really answers the question, but that's where I see favoritism the most. How about y'all? Because y'all so close in
Okay.
age, this is really interesting. Or I mean, we
I'll
have a
let
lot of siblings too.
yeah, I'll let Keisha go for sure. You can go.
Oh, gee, thanks. No, I think I think our dynamic was a little bit different. I think not between the two of us. I mean, from my opinion, I think that my brothers got away with murder. There was just for me when I was younger. I'm like these mofo's are really untouchable. Like the amount of passes they got, the things they were allowed to do, the places they were allowed to go. I think at one point, I think my mom, my stepdad even drove the point home. It's like, yeah, because they're boys. And I would just stop thinking like, wow, it must be very, very convenient, very, very special being a boy because they could do whatever. And I felt like an overwhelming sense of jealousy. So I'm like, that's kind of like a freedom. When I was younger, I'm like, that's what freedom is, having that flexibility and your parents just giving you that overwhelming sense of, well, you can do whatever, I trust you. And it just felt like kind of like, well, where do I fit in here? Where's my existence here? So for me, I definitely, as a younger kid, I was jealous because that's how they were presented to be. Um, Other than that, I know my younger sister. When my younger sister came along, then there was just like, okay, like every happy piece that I wanted to be part of my childhood, I kind of felt like she got from my dad. And so there's a very long period where I kind of closed myself, even like sadly, even to her, because it was just too much. Because it's like, man, you live in the childhood like I thought I should have gotten. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, definitely there was jealousy there too.
Yeah, so favoritism, I definitely agree with Keisha. My brothers, I definitely think my brother is the favorite of us all. I think he's gotten to do things like he's always gotten passes, or my mother will pacify things that he does. And no shade, Dre, I love you. But
Oh,
I
that's
think the yes, and I also think the boys, like, it's just different, like girls versus boys, what we're allowed to do versus what the boys can, like staying late out at night, or having boyfriends and girlfriends earlier, um, things like that. And so I think they, of course, they got to do things that we couldn't do. And then as a child growing up, I always thought Keisha was the baby, right? Because she was the baby of the family. So I think in regard to like my stepdad and my dad, that she was like, there was favoritism there. So she, in my eyes, like she got more gifts, or she got, like, they bought her more things. And again, my perception, right? I see her looking.
Keisha
Because she was the
I'm
baby
just
of the
kidding.
family. So yeah, I would say that it has changed throughout the years. I don't really see the dynamic of favoritism now with my mom. Um, and then I certainly agree, and I think I've talked about it on earlier episodes about my younger sister and how the dynamics kind of came, and it changed amongst everybody. And so I had to come to the realization though that like my dad was in a different season when he was, fathering us, and now he's older and he's, probably financially in a better situation and things like that. And now he's taking care of just one child at a time versus, four. So um trying to rationalize that, but still of course like it's not, we're human, so we're going to feel a little hurt by it, like dang, right? There's a reality of it, and then there's like the human side of it where it's like, okay, like she gets this but we never got that. So there's that part of it as well. So favoritism, I think, is like a common thing in families, and everyone, like, perception is reality, right? We're all going to think like, oh, that one got a little more piece of cake than I did, so it's a common thing. I don't think it's I honestly, how just having one child, I just give praise to people that have more than one child, because I'm like, man, how do you just divvy up love and time like that? And I know it's possible. I'm just saying, it's just like, as much as I pour into my son, to have to do that times two, times three.
It is a lot. I think you hit on the key thing, is the perception, right? Because even though I said, oh, even my younger sister will probably say, oh yeah, my sister's a favorite, it's because we're seeing things that she gets that we don't get. And I think that's the reality of it, why we feel that way. But in her eyes, she might see something that we get that she doesn't get to get. So it's kind of like that catch-22, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think if it's anything in my child. I'm trying to think of something specific, but I can't right now. Like something specific in my childhood where I was like, felt that they got it and I wasn't allowed to have it. I do remember there were times when like it would start out with me. Let's go. I'm not a tattletale, okay, but it would go to me telling my mom that something happened. And I'd be like, trying to get her on my side, and then all of a sudden, like we're all in one place talking about it. And all of a sudden, she switches to like sticking up for them, like, and I'm like, wait a minute, girl, like I came to you with this issue, and all of a sudden you're on their side. Actually, that actually happens in adulthood too sometimes still, and I know Keisha can relate, because we'll be like, wait a minute, I can't, girl, what are you talking about? You're supposed to be mad with me. Now all of a sudden you're saying, oh no, he's probably right. No. So that goes. So I don't know. I don't know what it is in my family, but I know my mom says she went through the kind of the same thing with the boys, held at a different standard than the girls, which kind of makes sense with the world we grew up in. But it's probably hard to keep everybody on one level playing field.
I agree.
For sure. And I mean, how do you have? Obviously you have two kids, Shay. So how do you deal with that in your parenting?
That's a great question. And it's certain dynamics. I almost have to think about what you said with your dad. Like the season that I was in with my son is not the season I was in with my daughter. Like with my son, I didn't have a college degree. I was still grinding really hard to try to get it. So time was a little limited. Whereas my daughter, I was pretty settled in my career, and I had a little bit more to give. And also, with my son and my daughter having not the same father, it kind of impacted how I had to parent, because I didn't have to parent her solo. Like her dad stepped up 100% to help me in that. So it made it a lot easier. Whereas for my son, it was all on me, and age gap, my son, they're 7 years apart. So, the first 7 years we were learning, and I was learning. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about having to heal myself before I come to him with something, because it could be my issue, not his issue. And I'm thinking like, oh wait, you should know that, and you should be able to do that. And I learned a lot, whereas my daughter got a more healed version of me.
I feel like that would be so, like, not so tough, but it'd be tough, right? To be able to explain to the older sibling that's watching this younger sibling get everything, or a better version, right? But I think you have to have that conversation and like acknowledge it. Like,
but
it
now
is
I'm thinking of just the person they got. But if you're thinking about like physical things, that boy was spoiled. Okay, it's nothing he could not have. Whereas I learned from him that you don't give him everything. So in that dynamic where he could have Like, we would go to the store, he'd get the same toy over and over again because he wanted it. Okay, you can have it, you can have it. He was just so obsessed with cars. I bought him everything. But then I realized when he flipped out, oh, I probably shouldn't have did that because the type of child I am raising. So I learned a lot. Like, that was just my learning, I learning what you should do as a parent. Whereas my daughter, I was really settled. Like, okay, so, and it's again different, like some certain things that she go through that I'm still learning on. But for the main base part of it, and the foundation of how I should show up as a parent, it was the work that him and I went through. So it's a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that is interesting because there are a lot of different families out here with big age gaps, and being able to manage that is
want to
again important to have those
say something
conversations.
about the title. It's really just so profound to me. Bloodlines and Boundaries. I think sometimes, have you ever been in a situation where just because they're siblings, they feel that they can cross over boundaries you set, and how have you dealt with that? Ooh, I know that wasn't our previous question. It just is such a good title.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll let our guests answer it.
Yeah, so when like I was younger, like I had a completely different personality where I just like wore my heart on my sleeve. Like there's nothing I wouldn't say no to, and I think my siblings caught on. They took advantage of that. So yeah, so boundaries were crossed. I would say no, and it'd be like okay, it'd be like a joke, like no one took it serious. Like no, you're gonna do exactly what I said because I told you, type deal. And then when you're younger, because you look up to your siblings, you kind of just take it and be like, well, I guess I gotta do what they say. But like again, as I grow up and I evolved and I grew up backbone, I'm like now it's like they get like a lot more pushback, which I sometimes and it came out of nowhere. There was no like let me transition them into me being this new person. It was just like no. And if you ask me again, you don't. I'm gonna block you. Like literally, it was a change overnight, like drastically. And I don't think they were prepared for that. Partly because I didn't prepare them. I had just gotten to a place where I was just like over it. Like, I'm gonna draw some boundaries, people. And if you don't, like, we're just not gonna communicate, which was not the best way to approach it. And I still find myself doing that to this day where I'm like, if I tell you something and you're not doing it, for me, and the irrational part of me takes it like as a sign of disrespect and like it's so detrimental to where it's just like nope, sorry, can't deal with it, you're out, you're blocked. I'll talk to you in 2026. And like as I've gone to therapy and got counseling, I've kind of just evolved to this point, well try to evolve to this point where it's just like okay, when people cross your boundaries, maybe you need to remind them that there is a boundary because you have to understand sometimes people don't recognize that you're setting a boundary, especially if you haven't set them before. So kind of giving that reintroduction to be like okay, even for me, it makes common sense for you to ask me and not tell me to do things. Whereas, okay, telling my sibling, I don't like that. This is one of those things I'm never gonna be able to do in the future. Please don't ask me because I don't feel comfortable. And I'm just trying to evolve and finding better ways to communicate that rather than shutting down and running away. Because that's always been my default. When something with my siblings cross the line, I will shut down and just run away or just not communicate because for me that to me that's always been easier than confronting my siblings.
What a time we had at the Empower Me Wellness Retreat last year. It was an amazing experience for all who encountered it. It's about that time though. Let's get ready for 2025 Empower Me Wellness Retreat Daycation. Meet us, San Marcos, Texas. Registration is open September 19th. 2025's retreat will be a full day packed with wellness sessions, lunch, amazing fellowship, and lots of surprises. We strongly encourage those who plan to come to make a weekend out of it. Get your hotel room, consider a spa day, find a local walking trail, or just stay in your room, rest and journal. Now that registration is open, grab your mother-daughter friends, grab your girlfriends, or make a solo trip and meet us there to relax, relate, and revive. Don't forget CamillaAntoine.com/retreat.
So what are some things that your siblings have done to cross your boundaries?
More so like just like not taking my no seriously or putting me in positions to where I feel like I have to help or like I have to participate, or I feel like, especially with the boys, like they'll volunteer me to do things. Like I hate that. Like I don't like when people just randomly volunteer me to do anything, or they'll put me in a position to where it's like I can't say no, because it's just then if I say no, all these different pieces of whatever they plan will fall into a disaster. And then I'll be like, oh, well, I'm to blame. Well, Keisha's to blame because she didn't say yes. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God, you have a gun to my head and I can't say no. So for me, that's like always been like my biggest thing, or just again, taking, when I say no, like I mean no. Or like, or like manipulating me. Like, they'll say, well, we talked about this. I told you about this. And I'm like, we didn't have this conversation. You're lying, and you're terrible at lying. Stop trying to, you know what I mean? And making it seem like I'm the one who's just in a disarray. And it's like, I have a really good memory. I have a very good memory. So, like, for you to say that and then try to manipulate it like I'm the one who's just lost in the whole equation, like, no, sir. So just things like that.
So I agree with you with the switcheroo, because I remember one day I had asked you to do something, and then it was like, no, and I'm like, whoa, hey, where did this person come from? Hold on. So I do remember that switch, and I was like, damn, what happened? And again, not like intentionally like, let me take advantage of her, but it was like we were so used to Keisha being the yes girl, and just kind of being somewhat of a pushover, I'll say, and not in a not to be in a disrespectful way, but she was like when she was younger, because she wanted to please everybody, she was a people pleaser. So I definitely remember that switcheroo was shocking to me, to say the least, and I'm sure to other family members. For me, though, boundaries with my siblings, I'm still learning, like, how to have boundaries with my siblings. Sometimes I feel like I'm still in that household, that whatever, two-parent household with my mom, my stepdad, and my siblings all under one roof, and we are like figuring things out, if that makes sense. Like I'm still like, hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, should I do this and that? Like it's a weird place. It's a weird place to be in, because it's like, okay, Franny, like now I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel like an adult, y'all. Like sometimes I feel like I'm still like, how the hell did I get to be this old? Like, what do you mean I'm a whole? Like I'm responsible for A, B, and C, and so it's like navigating outside of being in this household where I have siblings and I can, talk to them and, play with them. And now I'm like a whole, even though I'm old as hell, now I'm like on my own and, learning how to maneuver through life or whatever. So sometimes I don't set boundaries enough to where they don't know when to stop asking, or don't know when to take charge. Like I feel like I'm, like I said before, like the family manager, so I feel like I have to do things, else we won't be a family unit. Like I have to plan holidays, I have to plan family trips, else we're not going to be a family. Like to me, that signifies being a family, being able to do things together, being able to get together and see each other. And I'm really, really big on celebrating people. And so
does that mean that you won't adhere to your own boundaries because you want those things? Okay.
Correct. Yeah. I'm going to always overextend myself because I want people to have a good time. I want people to feel loved. And I want them to know, like, I'll be there for them. And so, and maybe it's me not allowing them to have that space to take the initiative because I'm so used to doing it. But I'm also like, you should know, like, I'm tired out. Like, step up so I don't have to,
I get that. I think I'm more so was a person that struggled with saying no. So kind of piggybacking off of Keisha's experience, it's almost I was that person. So when I did say no, it was always like, what? So what keep popping in my mind is during COVID, the shutdown, right? So both kids home. I'm a teacher now. I'm a chef. I'm working from home, and my sisters used to just pop up. I'd be in the middle of a meeting. They just pop up, banging on the door, ringing the doorbell. To the point I said, "Don't if you don't call me before you come over, you cannot come to my house." And they did it again. And I did not open the door, but I got a glass door, so you can see you looking through the door at me on the couch, looking at you, because I wasn't gonna open this door because I told y'all don't come to my house without calling me first. And it used to make me so mad. But my younger sister felt entitled to be able to come to my house anytime she wants to because you're my sister. You don't work and do the things I have to do in the household while we're going through all of this. So you don't understand the stress and the mindset I am in already. And you're coming to me, asking me for something while I'm taking care of everything. So that was a hard boundary for both of them to get. My older sister was just like, all right, because I'm a Taurus. Sometimes I just snap. And so she ain't want to, deal with that. But my younger sister, she's going to try to push back. And so it came to her getting her first place, people popping up for her to say, okay, you know what, that's not the right thing to do. I think that other boundaries that came about is what I'm willing to do, how far I'm willing to extend myself, because it's really to the point where I'm pouring into them, but they don't have the capacity to pour into me. So I understand that from that standpoint, and it got tiring. It got to be too much. So I started having to say no. And they kind of got it eventually. So I'm like not the first person they asked, more so the last person. But it's still work in progress because sometimes I still feel very guilty because I know that the way that I want to structure my life is out of survival mode, and they're still comfortable being in that mode. So it kind of triggers me in a way. It's like, I want to thrive, but y'all okay in this space that I'm not okay being in. So having to go back to rescue them over and over again, it gets very tiring.
Yeah, I get that. I'm still learning. Like I said, I'm still learning my nose. I'm still learning how to stand on my nose. I'm glad Keisha's there, but a little drastic. No blockos. But no, I think that's important in any relationship that you have. Standing on your nose and people being able to respect that. So Keisha, I heard you say maybe sometimes I need to remind them of the boundary, but I think also on our end, it is like a, hey, Keisha said no, she means it. There's nothing, we don't want to convince you or force you to change your mind. But I also think sometimes, you're very independent. Keisha's been independent since she moved out of the house. But sometimes, being stuck in your ways, I think you have to sometimes be open to other people, to other perspectives of a situation. Because especially when you're mad, you don't want to hear nothing. So you're like, F, you're like, F that. You know what I'm saying? So, and even for me, right, it's being able to kind of see it from somebody else's point of view instead of being like, nope, you don't agree with me, block. You know what I mean? Because I don't want, I feel, like I said, I'm very, very big on family. So, and I know we're going to close out soon, but I'm very big on family. So I think it's important. Me and Keisha don't, we've had periods where we don't talk, where we don't talk. I think the longest has been, what, Keisha? Over a year?
It's been a year and some change.
Yeah. So it's long. And then you just it becomes normal. So then you don't start thinking about, well, at least for me, I don't start thinking about it till it's a family event, or it's again, something that I want to tell only Keisha, and I'm like, no, hell no, forget that heifer. You know what I mean? But it's we've gone very long periods. We actually just, honestly, me and her just started back talking after a year, and I think I kind of talked about it, but I didn't talk about it on the podcast specifically, and you were one of the ones that encouraged me to reach out to my sister or whatever. So, I mean, don't take too much credit though.
I told her, you better text her right now.
But then it's always, and Keisha can attest to this, because whenever we fight, I'm like, I'm the last time we fought, I'm the one that reached out. So why do I always have to be the one to make up with her? I don't always have to be the nice one. And so sometimes that'll put us in a further, just drawing out that argument further when we are apart and stuff like that. And it's easier because she's not in Michigan. She doesn't attend all the family events. So it's easy for me to kind of block her out and forget. But then deep down, I know that's one relationship that I don't, want to not nurture or whatever.
This is beautiful. Keisha?
I know. I'm like, I feel it is.
And I'll say this, like, really, sibling relationships are hard, but there's never been a period, like, when, especially when we're not talking, where I'm like, oh my God, like, I wish I had my sister. Like, literally in those periods. But it's just like, I've had to, and I'm still learning to break my pride and be like, because I think the last time we stopped talking, I'm like, and that was like when I'm going through my whole depression thing. I was just like, if something happens to me, that's going to be our last memory. I don't want to get emotional, but I was just like, because if you had not reached out to me, I too had a reminder set to reach out to me. I was telling myself, okay, I'll give you 30 more days to be stubborn, and then you're gonna call your sister. And then you're gonna be because I did hear you last time where you did say like I'm always the one to reach out, and like in my stubborn mode I'm like damn right because I'm not the one who was wrong. I always have that stubborn side and I'll say it. And then when I reflect back I'm like I was just telling myself like is the last interaction you have with your sister and if something happens to you is that the memory that you're gonna leave her with if something happens to you because there's no taking that back because once you're gone from this earth like that's it. There's no, I'm sorry, and to that person physically. So I was just like, yeah, I've gotta find another workaround than just being like, oh, it got tough. We had a tough conversation. We had a fight. I'm running away, and that's like me trying to grow. Because before, like, I'll shut it down. I'd be like, sorry, I guess I'll catch you in the next lifetime. So I'm trying to like overcome that and realize that like that sister relationship to me is one of the most pivotal relationships that I hold, even over the relationships I have with my parents. So, and I told myself, if that's the case, then you've done a disservice to your sister by not investing and pouring into it like you should.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I would make a heart, but I'm holding my phone. I'm holding my iPhone.
When I say like,
yeah, you put yours on. We'll do it together. Not you. I was talking. Not you. I was talking to her.
I was showing my tattoo. So we actually have sister tattoos. Mine is the heart with a missing puzzle piece, and she has the puzzle piece. Looks like your iPhone can't show it properly, but
because I'm actually holding
clear.
Yeah. You see
it saturated. It's clear.
Is the Android in the room amongst us?
But no, sibling fights are really hard. I don't fight with my brothers like that because if I do, I check them real quick and they get the picture. I'm just joking, but we don't. No, with my brothers, I think the fights are less intense because we are not as close as me and Keisha are. And yeah, we're both prideful. We're both very stubborn. We're stuck in our ways, and we're both like, "Girl, I was the one that was in the wrong, like the right." You know what I'm saying? So then. No. So then when we finally do have, and that's what's crazy is it's literally one conversation. Like we went for like maybe 13, 14 months without talking. And then one conversation took that away. Like it was done. Like we were good back as close as ever. And that's what I like really reflect on in other parts of my life. Like, man, just one conversation can change the whole trajectory of things. It's just two people got to be willing to have that conversation.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's tough, but I think again, if your relationship is something that you really want to have with your sibling, and it's something that you hold dear to you, then you just gotta sometimes you just gotta put your pride away. You gotta be the one to be like, let's just talk. Like this is dumb. And I don't even know if there's been anything like really really serious that we fought over, where it's to the point where it's like, oh, you did me dirty, because we're just not malicious people. And I think that most of our fights have been like over how we perceive somebody's actions to be not how we wanted them to be. You know what I mean? Correct me if I'm wrong though, baby girl. I can't. The memory ain't all the way there.
Yeah, I mean, you used a couple different tones I wouldn't like. Before it would have been like, oh no, Fran's mad at me. Now in my big grown age, I'm like, nah, she has me messed up. And I'm like, before I'm rolling over. Now I'm like, oh, we're going to war? Let's get it.
And the sucky part is because we share friends that were there in the middle of it. And I'm just like, so you're going to her birthday? And they're like, yeah, what are you talking about? Or like, oh, you talked to her? So, but what Keisha probably doesn't know is that every time that we fight, because she lives so far away, and because like I hope you don't mind me sharing, like you did struggle with depression for a while, and so for me being me being on her sister and on the other side of that was tough, right? Like to have a sibling that's struggling with depression and her being in another state where I couldn't like just go in like, you know, go and hug her and just tell her like everything's gonna be okay. And so when we were fighting, like that was my biggest thing. Like, man, like I just need her to know like that people like are still there and I love her and stuff. And so I had like was always telling her friends like, please, like, you know, just go check on her, make sure she's good. You know, like I need her to be good even if we're not good.
This
so that was that.
Dude, I love it.
Girl, she's trying to get a little plug in. So, but yeah, so like that was one thing, like even, you know, and that's a good thing we share, you know, mutual friends, because I was able, you know, to say that to them, like, just make sure she's good. Like, I don't like her, but please just make sure you're checking on her. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I'm grateful for her friends, because I think, you know, they were able to take that place. But definitely, like, as we get older, like, we're learning more and more, like, it's just freaking communication. Like, just communicate with each other. Like, nothing's that serious. And me and her shared, like, I had a best friend in high school that passed away, and me and her weren't talking when she passed away. And Keisha was, like, one of the last people to see her. And so we've kind of learned from that, where it's just like, man, you got to talk. You got to, like, fix things, because you can be gone in an instant, you know? So that's what I'll say about that part. Let me sip my wine, dry these tears.
That was, honestly, I think we wrapped it up. I think that was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are at this point, regardless of what I had to do to, you know, encourage you.
Okay, Yala.
Did I fix your life? No,
I never say, "Oh, beloved."
Man. Oh, but no, so I think just wrapping up, just some things for people out there that are, maybe they are struggling through similar relationships, or that maybe they are like, man, how are we going to make this work? So just some basic tips, like, you're different people, right? Like, you are not the same. You guys are going to have different personalities, different values, and that's okay. Like, that's normal for you to do. You just got to figure out how to make all that mesh together to either strengthen your relationship. It's okay to fight. Fights are normal in romantic relationships, they're regular parental relationships, they're definitely okay in sibling relationships. And sometimes they make you grow stronger. Like, I feel like our fights do make us grow strong, our bond stronger, because it makes you realize how much you miss that person and what kind of role that person was playing in your life. Because sometimes when someone's there all the time, you don't realize what kind of role they play until it's gone. And you're like, damn, I miss her. So it's okay to fight, and use your words, and don't. Text messages are horrible. That's something Shay has taught me too. Pick up the phone and call. Text messages can be misread. They're not personal. So you got to pick up that phone or have that face to face. And I think my other tip would be, like, say sorry and mean it. Like, apologize. Make sure you stand on your sorry, and you don't. When you're saying sorry, it's not like, yo, like, I apologize for what I did, but, because that but just negates that apology. You got to stand on your apology and, let them know you mean it, and respecting personal space. I think Keisha's big on her personal space, even if she doesn't always tell people she needs it. But when she needs it, that girl is gone like ghost.
I want to add to that too. I feel like also being in a place that you both can have that conversation, that's very important. Sometimes you may want a relationship and that person just isn't there. So you also got to understand to respect your peace. And I'm just speaking on a few people I know who values their relationships with their siblings, but the sibling is not in the space at this point in their life to receive that. They're still in a selfish place of taking. And I think that sometimes that just taught me that you can love them, send love to them, but that doesn't mean that they're not right there to receive it yet. You gotta protect your peace too. Don't just put it, because sometimes we put things on it just because it's my family. I'm gonna neglect myself. It's so important to protect your peace in the midst of. So yeah, that's all I had to add to it.
I love that. You want to take us out, Keisha? You got anything else to say? Tips for our viewers or words of advice?
We'll be back for another episode.
Of course. Of course. Now that I know that I have you to thank for
I'll be coming to the DC area pretty soon, so I want to go.
I will say, I think my biggest takeaway is that I learned just through like just having especially a sister relationship. I think in this life, in this world, there are people out here designed or who take the steps to actually hurt you. And when you have that kind of relationship to fall back on with your siblings and there's strife, you have to remember that your siblings, the ones you built a bond with, they aren't one of them. There, you can have all these situations going on to where you fight and there's discourse, but if you're properly pouring into the relationship like you should, you have to give your siblings the grace to know that they come into the relationship flawed too. These aren't superheroes we're dealing with. And if I want my siblings to accept my broken pieces, understand me, I have to do the same for them and making sure that we're equally yoked to where this relationship is reciprocated both ways.
Yep, I agree on that. Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Again, you can find us on Monday nights at you're kind of muted, but I'm gonna keep
You
it going.
muted. It's just the two of us now, Shay. I'm your new co-host. Hey, world.
This Keisha. All right, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, till next time. Bye.
What a time we had at the Empower Me Wellness Retreat last year. It was an amazing experience for all who encountered it. It's about that time though. Let's get ready for 2025 Empower Me Wellness Retreat Daycation. Meet us, San Marcos, Texas. Registration is open September 19th. 2025's retreat will be a full day packed with wellness sessions, lunch, amazing fellowship, and lots of surprises. We strongly encourage those who plan to come to make a weekend out of it. Get your hotel room, consider a spa day, find a local walking trail, or just stay in your room, rest, and journal. Now that registration is open, grab your mother-daughter friends, grab your girlfriends, or make a solo trip and meet us there to relax, relate, and revive. Don't forget CamillaAntoine.com/retreat.